Terry Van Horn, and I just want to say hi and happy Monday to you all. Today we're going to talk to the angels and get some answers for some things. But also I wanted to start off a little bit by letting you know something about me. A lot of times people, they don't know that much about me or about the intuitive people who are actually the faces of some of these pages. So I thought I would tell you a little bit about me, and so that you'll know who it is that you're talking to and connecting with. So I was born in Houston. I'm a sixth generation Texan. And I moved out to the country about 12 years ago. I am married. I have one daughter and the world's most amazing grandson, of course. I have 9 horses, 6 dogs right now, 3 that were dropped off, and I've been trying to find homes for, but they've just stayed here and they're stuck. I also have 3 dogs that are intentional, 2 of which are a pair of Irish Wolfhounds. So I run around with big, huge, giant dogs. Occasionally, I do weddings and special events. I do it for one of the local Renaissance festivals as a way to raise additional funds. I do all of this work. This is my sole income, my sole way of making a living. Several years ago, I ended up committing to doing this full time. And since then, Universe has helped me out with that. And actually, at the time, I am the sole breadwinner. So, a little bit of issues. My husband is my twin flame, which anybody who knows about twin flames knows that there's like button pushing and a lot of times very difficult challenges with those relationships. So I get to deal with that too. But I do really enjoy my life here out on my little farm. We just have like 10 acres. And it's a great place to put, all of my rescue horses and the retired horses that my daughter and I had and worked with and showed for many years. So, that's a little bit about who I am. Live in this little teeny tiny, farmhouse that is nothing spectacular, but I love the land and I love being out here completely surrounded by nature, because that's in itself is like the biggest blessing in the world for me. I was born intuitive and very highly intuitive as a child. I saw a lot, very, very clairvoyant. That was actually my strongest point, is that I saw things all the time. I knew things. At the time that I was growing up, things like ESP were very popular, which ESP, extrasensory perception, that's what they used to call it back then. And I thought it was really cool, and I bragged about the fact that I had ESP and that I could guess things and I could do stuff. Did not set well with my Southern Baptist family. And, I was told repeatedly that I was lying, I was making things up, things like that. So when you're 6 years old, that really affects you in a lot of ways. So I started blocking it. As a result, I ended up with severe migraines. The majority of my life, I woke up with them every single day. And that was the blocked energy from the third eye, I much later discovered. I did not really embrace my intuitive abilities, and again, things would leak in, but I didn't really embrace it until about 10 years ago. I started really accessing it again and trying to rebuild that relationship with spirit that I'd had. Things are different this time around. I see very small snippets of things intuitively. but mostly it's a hearing and a sensing that I receive, that gut feeling as well that we all have. Now, there's nothing special about me or anyone else who does things intuitively. And I think that's a really important thing to remind you of, is that you have the ability to do this too. Everybody has this. They call it a gift, but actually it's a gift that we all have. And that it does take time and effort to develop this gift. So that's the reason why some people have it much stronger than others. I mean, some people are just born with it just really, really strong. They don't have to do anything. As a matter of fact, they do like the exact opposite of what, most people would be doing to develop it. And that's okay. We all have different abilities. We all have different gifts and talents. So, I have worked, I have studied, I have, lots of meditation, lots of growing to be able to do the things that I do now. There's been a lot of, this isn't something that just always comes completely naturally. We do have to develop it. It's just like if you're working out at a gym with weights, you have to develop it. And so, I and many other people, just like me, do spend a great deal of time and energy and money to learn and to be able to expand and to grow with our abilities. So whenever we tell you that, there are prices for stuff, we've invested a lot, usually, in what we're doing and how we're growing. So that really is part of the process. We all learn, we all expand, and we all learn from each other. So that is kind of what I do. I do a lot of intuitive sessions. I do a lot of healing sessions as well for people. Written a few books. I have 2 more that are in the works that I have actually really just been on hold now for a couple of years. I had to get a lot of other stuff dealt with on a personal level, and because the information was there, but it kept being blocked, and it just wasn't the right time. So now it feels as though we're really coming up on the time to get these books done, finished, and out. So that's going to be like really cool. I self-publish everything. So at this point, I have not been approached by a publisher yet. I'm in hopes that I will be able to. And whenever I say that, I don't mean the self-publishing people who, promise you for $20,000 they'll get it on Amazon, because, can't do that. But I do use a program that works with Amazon so that everything is, you can find it all there. So I have that. That's what I do. In my spare time then, I'm doing animals, ranch work, all the glamorous stuff that, that you normally wouldn't think that someone who is intuitive would be doing. But I do, and I enjoy it immensely. I have gone through periods where I would get burned out a little bit, and sometimes doing too much will do that to you, and you have to take a break. I have just come out of basically a almost a year-long kind of timeout that the angels, God, Spirit has placed me in to be able to recharge and, to get myself back together, to be able to get out here and do what I'm supposed to do. I have had several different times where I should have died and didn't. And then I have had one very strong, memorable near-death experience that was a couple of years ago. That kind of threw me into the timeout thing. It was a very, it was a great experience, but at the same time, then it's oh man, I got to come back. But it was also beautiful, and the unconditional love that you feel on the other side is amazing. So I do talk about that in one of the previous videos that I've done. And I did one on like what it's like on the other side. So if you do have questions about that, then actually you can refer back to that video from about a week or two, and that'll give you that information. As I said, I do a lot of intuitive readings. Mostly what I focus on is with empowerment and helping people grow on a spiritual level. That is, I would say that those are really my priorities as far as doing sessions and working with people. I will help with some mediumship and help those who have lost loved ones. And so that part of it is really, I enjoy doing that because I know it helps people with closure. One thing that I really, really prefer not to do, actually two things. One is politics, and the other is relationship readings. I get a lot of requests for those. And for some reason, that one just kind of like shuts down on me. I start really closing down on doing those because I think that the main thing is that we have to work on us before we go and find somebody else. A lot of people want to do the relationship readings, and they're like really, really desperate for somebody to fix them or complete them or to make them whole. When a lot of it is that we need to work on ourselves and become a whole person ourselves without relying on somebody else to do that and fix us. And so that's really a big, big factor in the whole relationship thing and finding a soulmate, is that we do have to work on us first and getting all that part ready. Because, some of these relationships aren't here to complete us. They are here to teach us how to heal ourselves so that we can be complete and whole. But, so anyway, that's not really a focus of what I do. I will do it on rare occasions, but, that's not my main thing. So, anyway, what I'd like to do is, if anybody has questions about, different aspects of spirituality, angels, God, or higher self, any of that, I would love to answer those. Let's see. Oh, here's one. Why is spiritual awakening so painful? I'm experiencing, but it's emotionally painful as if I'm shedding my outer skin. Or am I just in a dark place? And there's more, but I can't see it all. Okay, Margie. Sometimes spiritual awakening is a little bit difficult because we are letting go of everything that we've done before and everything that we have seen and experienced before. Now, that does not mean that we erase our personal history and we totally are walking away from everything that we had in the past. That's not it. What happens is that we have to let go of that third dimensional aspect of life, and we're moving up to a higher one. Most people are actually in the fourth, leading to the fifth dimension right now, which is wonderful. We do have some people in the third dimension still, and they're the ones who basically are kind of like causing a lot of the problems around the world. A lot more violent, a lot more difficult. And they do not want to let things go. But as we move forward, then what happens is that we're able to let go of that and to start really realizing and seeing that we are all one. Everybody is connected. So we are all one spirit and one energy. That is a wonderful realization, but sometimes it's a little bit difficult for people to actually grasp that and, hang on to it. So, it's a little bit of a transition. You're letting go of a lot of belief systems, and you are picking up a lot of other belief systems. So, it's just a little bit of a transition, and it will get much better. I promise you. Everybody has to go through a little bit of a trial, a little bit of a challenge with it, and then it's all okay. Let's see, Mary Jo just lost her mom 3 weeks ago, and our condolences, Mary Jo. She just wants to know that her mom's okay. Absolutely. Your mom is actually, she was with you for probably about a week or so after she passed. And while she was with you, she was trying to comfort you and let you know that she's okay. But it's difficult to connect with them right after that loss because we have so many emotions attached to it. And rightly so. So what happens is that she is now over on the other side, and that she is also in kind of like, I call it like Heaven University. She is with her guardian angels and her guides, and they're kind of reviewing what she did. And the life review is not like a judgmental thing. It is one of those things where we connect with our guardian angels. They're all right there with us. We can see each other now. We're communicating one-on-one. And what happens is that we talk about the wonderful, beautiful things that are going on, why we came here, what we wanted to accomplish, and then how did we do on that? It's not a, pass-fail thing, okay? It's just let's reevaluate this and see, what we did, how we passed, how we did everything, and how we can move forward on it. So that is, part of the deal. So that's what she's doing right now. She's going to be doing that. She's going to be healing herself and her soul for a while. And then she's going to be able to come back and visit you and connect with you. So, don't worry about it. She will be there and she'll help you out. Okay, I also saw somebody wanted to know about negative energies connecting with you. Sometimes they do. What happens is that when we are, in the light, when we are working with spirit and doing things, we have this beautiful light and energy that negative energy or lost souls are attracted to. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is light. This is the energy that I need. These are some that have a hard time actually letting go of being here on Earth. So what happens is that they're like, oh, light bulb, and it's kind of like that moth to the flame thing. They want to attach to you, and they want that energy. Now, sometimes they can affect you in negative ways, because if they have really negative traits and, negative things going on, then they will sometimes influencing you just a little bit. It can change your personality, it can change your health, it can change a lot of different things. There are ways to get rid of it, and we send them to the light. Sometimes it's a little easier than others. Sometimes you can just, say go and ask your angels to help remove them and release them. Sometimes they get a little bit too attached, and we have to, go a little further on it, and sometimes, get additional help with that. But, it is something that can happen. It's not anything like The Exorcist, so, I've never ever seen or experienced anything like that, but I have helped remove negative entities. Also, sometimes we can have a lost soul that attaches to us just because it's lost, and it needs help and guidance. And those actually are pretty easy. I had like a young one, like a young male energy, that was with me for a long time, and we sent him off to the light where he needed to be, and that happens. So it is possible, and it's also very possible to resolve that issue. So it's not like the end of the thing. Okay, see, Jennifer wants to know about repairing a marriage that you felt was your soulmate, if they had an affair while you were sick, or is it too deep? Jennifer, honestly, you can repair it, but in your particular case, you need to, evaluate whether or not this is something that you feel that you can let go of and that you feel that you can repair, because you know how you feel. Yes, there are ways that you can do that. There's a lot of forgiveness, a lot of releasing and letting things go to the past. But, you got to be able to evaluate whether or not you can do that and if you feel that it's the main thing to do. I don't want to sound trite on some of this, but there are a lot of soulmates out there. Soulmates are people that we have had a deep connection with for many lifetimes. So think about it. How many people have you had deep connections with over, say, 100 or 1,000 lifetimes? There's a lot of them. So there's not just one soulmate out there for you. Okay? We have soulmates all around us. They are friends. They are family members. They are animals. And yes, they are partners. So just because you feel that this one person is a soulmate does not mean that they are the only person out there for you. So that's a really big, important thing to understand, is that, there's not just one person on this planet for you. There are many who can help you learn and grow and expand. We have relationships with several soulmates. You may have, you can have them with, like dating several different soulmates or being married to them, where you get together, you fulfill that soul contract, where, you're helping each other grow, doing what you're supposed to do for each other, and then the relationship is actually complete, and you move forward to grow and expand in a different way. So that's important to know, that it's okay to let some of these relationships go if they are completely finished. It doesn't mean that you are a serial dater or a serial, marriage person. It's just that sometimes, when it's done, it's done. And we need to accept that rather than staying in that relationship when it can be a really detrimental later on. So we do need to work on that. Somebody else asked about twin flame. On the twin flame thing, that is where originally you were one soul. And you decided, or basically all souls decided, that they were going to split and to experience life the fullest way possible. So the one soul split in half. Now you have two souls. Okay? So one goes this way, one goes this way. And you are here on different incarnations, different times. You're not together. Okay? You guys are, one person is way, way over on one side, one is way on the other side. You are learning things differently. You are growing differently. You are getting, like the most experiences possible as a soul in a human form. You are not necessarily with your twin flame very often. It's actually very, very rare that you are with a twin flame. You may kind of like brush by each other on a lifetime or two, but you don't actually have a relationship until it's your last incarnation on Earth. Okay? When you do, it is not the fairy tale. The prince does not, sweep the princess off her feet and carry her off on his big white horse to the castle. Okay? Because the last aspect of the twin flame relationship is that you come together to finally do that last push so that both of you can reach the ascension process. Now, quite often, whenever you meet your twin flame, you are complete opposites in every way because you've both gone so many different directions. So, that has, you're complete opposites. You are very, very different. And it's, people will be shaking their head going like, why are you guys together? But there is something about your connection with that person that you're supposed to be with them. It's different from the soulmate connection. Your soulmate is your partner, your buddy. They're there to help you and to support you and to help you grow. And you have this beautiful relationship together. And you guys are more like the happily ever after. Okay? The twin flame is button pushing, almost like wanting to strangle each other on many occasions during the relationship. But you stay together because you're helping each other grow. It is not always great. It is not always positive. It can be very difficult at times. And I mean, seriously, the thing about strangling each other, it's almost an understatement, okay? Not that I'm condoning that, but you feel that way. But that's part of it, because they will push you and you will push them to be able to move forward. Now, once you get past that, then the relationship can be spectacular, and then you both reach, a much higher level of spirituality. But also, whenever you're meeting that twin flame, one may be, at this spiritual level, and the other one may be at this spiritual level. And you got to move each other, in balance and bring both people up. You can be like completely different backgrounds, everything. So, that's kind of it. The twin flame is kind of a contentious relationship. And instead of saving like the best relationship for your last incarnation, you're getting the worst one or the hardest one. So, it's not going to happen until you're pretty much done here with your incarnations. And then, you're supposedly prepared for it, but take it from somebody who is in one of those, you're not prepared for it. And it can be a real, real challenge. But I see it as an immense growth on my part, on his part, and hopefully we can push each other to where we need to be and to help each other so that we can move forward. Okay, while I was talking about all that, I saw that somebody was asking me about removing negative energy from their home. Removing negative energy generally is not too terribly hard. Now, sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge, but we have to, do a few things. Crystals help as long as they're cleared, okay? You can do incense, obviously asking the angels to help. You can do, meditation and prayer, obviously. You can use holy water to do it. Now, sometimes you can also send in the light. If you do Reiki or any type of energy healing, you can bring the light in. Doing things like, most times people end up having stagnant energy more than they do negative energy, or having someone actually in their house in spirit. Open the windows, open the doors, let some of that fresh air in, and that will remove stagnant energy. Make sure that you get the energy out of corners, closets, all those different areas. Now, occasionally you will have an energy in the house. Usually it comes through portals. Portals are different openings into the spirit realm. Just about everybody's house has them. It's not a big deal. It's very rarely negative. Usually from a negative aspect, it'll be like positive energy from your place seeping into, seeping out, going elsewhere. I generally don't really encounter it where we've got like a lot of negative stuff coming in. But you can have, like fairies and elementals come in, and they usually kind of like do things to mess with you. If that's the case, then sometimes you might need to have somebody help you. remove all of that and to help clear it. But, you really can do that and work with your angels, and they can help you as well. Also, when you have and work with crystals, make sure that you clear them. That's really, really important. We have a couple of crystals that are self-clearing. Citrine is self-clearing, selenite, shungite. Those are some of the main ones that are self-clearing. But, the other ones do need to be cleansed and cleared. The best way to do that is to put them in moonlight. I do not recommend sunlight unless you're talking about clear quartz. They love sunlight. But when you have something, wonderful like this beautiful amethyst here, sunlight will make it fade. So we don't ever want to do that. We don't want to lose the quality of these, great stones. So go with moonlight, stars, thunderstorms, energy. That's a great one. Okay? So do that with your stones. Have them cleared. And as you do that, they will also help send in beautiful, positive energy into your home and, keep the level up really, really high. Himalayan salt lamps are also great because they provide negative ions, and negative ions make us feel much more positive. When you think about negative ions, think about the energy around the seashore or waterfalls. Those are the highest negative ion areas. And that will really lighten the mood and the energy in your home. Okay, let's see. Samantha, what to do when you get a visit from a past loved one in a dream, but you can't understand the message? Samantha, this is going to sound like really silly, but ask them to please make it more clear. And they will. Okay? If your angels or your loved ones are sending you messages and you're not getting it, there is nothing wrong with that. That is okay. We're human. We don't see things the same way they do. Ask them to make it more clear. Please give me the answer in a way that I can understand. It's really that simple, and they will help us with that. And they will do that. A lot of times you will feel their energy around you. And if you have animals, they definitely will feel the energy around you. It's so funny because usually about 30 minutes before I do these live sessions, my cat goes crazy. And she's like meowing and so loud that she has to go get locked in the bathroom because she won't shut up. She's feeling that extra energy influx into the house. She feels the angels and the guides coming in. So your animals will feel it. My dog usually doesn't care. He's used to it by now. He's had, he's lived through a lot of visits with angels, and including Archangel Michael, who comes by a lot. So when that happens, my dog is just kind of chill about it now. But the cats still go crazy, and it's really kind of funny. But I can always tell when someone has popped in because the cat will start really talking and just walking through the house and talking to everybody. So they will do that, and it really is kind of funny. Okay, let's see. Martis wants to know about parents watching. They're around a lot. It's not like they're being voyeurs, but they are around, and they want to help, and they want to kind of, point you in the right direction, just like they did whenever, they were here. Gabrielle, can meditation make you feel worse? I feel like it has for me. Gabrielle, sometimes whenever we do meditation, we feel like we have to do it one very specific way. And that is where we are, sitting in the lotus position, chanting Om, and clearing our mind for hours on end. That is not necessarily that's not the only way to do meditation. Meditation can be anything where you are actually basically mindless, okay? If you are your mind is clear, you can do it walking in nature. You can do it when you're with animals, petting your animals, tending the garden. You can do it anytime. Actually, washing the dishes is a good one. One of my biggest meditation times used to be, I would actually, while I was cleaning stalls with my horses, because, that's a completely mindless activity. It was the one time when I was totally disconnected from the world, and I would sit there and just shovel, what. So, but it's a great time to do that. You do not have to be intentionally sitting on the cushion chanting Om. I can't do that. I will be honest with you. I cannot do that because if I sit there and try to do it, then I start coming up with 2,000 things that I need to be doing. And that's my best way to create a to-do list, is to sit down and try to meditate. So I do it, like with prayer, I do it whenever I am out. And, so don't think that you have to do it one certain way. If you are having a hard time doing it with the way that you're doing it, then it might be a little bit forced, and it might be a little bit more difficult for you. So, try a different way, because there's no one way to do it. A friend of mine actually does it while driving. I told her, she's crazy, but that's the time whenever she is able to kind of zone out. So, it is whatever works best for you. Let's see, somebody just asked me about sage and smudging. You can absolutely do your own house. You can do yourself. And it's a great way to do it. I go through and do it usually about once a week or every couple of weeks. And, just hit the house. However, I have so many crystals in here that I generally don't need to do it. And also, whenever I'm doing so much channeling work and readings and things like that, then I have a lot of angels and guides in here. But, it helps keep the house cleared out, and it's a great way to do it. If you don't like sage, or you can also use incense, anything like that, just to help clear it. Visualize the smoke from that incense or the sage as pulling up all the negative energy, because that's actually what it does. It pulls it up and out and releases it into the air and the universe, and will, send it and dispel it and turn it into love. Okay, I've had a lot of questions about loved ones who have passed on, and I will, a lot of those, we, they are with us. They are not just like angels, but they are here and they do want to help us. Let's see, Donna's asking, do you believe in angels? Oh, absolutely, Donna. I talk to them all the time. They're always here. They're here now. They're with us. Everybody has, a lot of angels with them. You have usually like 3 guardian angels that are with you from before you came here. And then you get additional angels who come in to help you. And, depending on what's going on, they will come in, help you with things, and then, they may step back and let somebody else come in to the forefront to help you with something. So they really do, they're around us all the time. And, they are waiting for you to ask them. Remember, we have free will. God, kind of set this up so that we have the ability to do what we want to do. We're not being forced on anything. We don't have predestination. So, angels can't just jump in and say, oh, Terry, you need to go do this, you need to go do that. Okay? They may send suggestions, but we have to ask and allow them to come in and to do things for us and to help us. And then we trust them to do it. And when we trust them, we can do that. Okay? And they will. All right. Let's see. I've had a bunch of people ask about cards. I will do a few cards in just a minute. I do want to answer one other question that somebody had about raising your vibrations. Now, raising your vibrations, I'm going to touch like 2 seconds on physics. Everything has a vibrational frequency. Everything puts off an electrical frequency, okay? Your heart does. Your brain does. Crystals do. Everything vibrates, okay? Because we're all made up of atoms, and those are electrons, protons, neutrons, and they all move, and they all expand, and they all put off energy, okay? So, it doesn't matter if something is what you perceive to be, solid or liquid or a gas. Doesn't matter. It all has energy. It is all movement, and it is all have life. Okay? Now, to raise your vibrational frequency, that means that if you were hooked up to an oscillator, your energy would be doing like this. Okay? What we want to do is like this and keep it up there. Now, there are different ways to do that. You can do it by being positive. You can do it by, like having things around that make you happy. Okay? You can do it by, laughter, singing, something positive. Think of something that really opens your heart. And that will help you raise your vibrations. And melody, that will also help you on your spiritual journey. Okay? We do have to work sometimes at being positive. That is not something that is just a natural occurrence yet. Okay? What happens is we are born positive, and then we get educated into, the way everything is here on earth. There's a lot of negativity. And we need to eliminate that as much as possible. This is also, Christy, about how to help a child who's an empath. We need to have the positivity. We need to have the light. We need to do things that open that heart. As we do that, we move up to a higher level. Now, that does not mean that nothing bad will ever happen to us. Because it does, bad stuff happens. Bad people happen. But what happens is that we are able to bounce back from it much easier. Just because you're positive most of the time and you're lifting your vibrational frequency does not mean that something won't fall apart at any given moment. But you bounce back. Okay? It's about your reaction to things as well. Okay? Not everything has to be a catastrophic end of the world occurrence. Sometimes that happens, okay? But I saw something yesterday that I absolutely love, and I'm going to, it was a quote, and I'm going to make it a meme, and you'll probably see it pretty soon. But it said that if it won't matter in 5 years, then you don't need to spend more than 5 minutes worrying about it. And I thought, wow, is that not like the truest thing in the world? Okay? So, if we're not worried about it, if it's not going to make any difference in our lives in 5 years or someone else's life in 5 years, then we don't need to worry about it. Okay? We need to just say, oh, wow, stuff happens and let's move on. So don't give it that time and energy, because once you start getting into that negative energy, it just puts you into like a downward spiral. And we don't need that. We need to go into the upward spiral of positive energy. If you feel like you are in a negative trap and that you can't, get out of that, every day, write down something that you're grateful for. Now, I have pushed that and in the past, and I have done it actually, like on Facebook, usually in November, because, Thanksgiving is a time to be grateful for everything. But, this is something we need to do every day. But what I was doing is that I was writing down 5 things every day that I was grateful for. 5 different things. Not rewording it, okay? 5 different things. And at first you're going like, oh my God, 5 things over 30 days and they're completely different? Sure, it's a piece of cake, okay? You have to think about it, but it helps you to get in a much more positive mindset. It helps you live in a state of gratitude. And when you do that, you're able to start actually manifesting and creating more positive stuff in your life, and everything starts snowballing and getting better and better and better. So do that. You know, if things are really negative, you're having a really rough time, start with one thing every day, something different, okay? Every day that you're grateful for. And then just keep moving forward on it. You should be able to, do it and, come up with 5 or 10 different things every day. You can do that. Okay? It makes you start really digging down and seeing all the beautiful things that you have in your life. No matter what your circumstances are, you can still find something positive in your life to be grateful for. And that's what is really, really important. Okay, somebody just asked about us choosing our parents. Yes, we do. I'm 58, and for probably about 56 years of those, the thought has gone through my mind, what the hell was I thinking? Okay? We choose our parents to grow and expand. Remember, we came here to learn how to live, to love, and to get back to spirit, get back to our source in a human form. Now, that means that sometimes, if we're wanting to experience all these different things in physical form, then that means that it's not always about the happy stuff, because you don't learn nearly as much when things are rainbows and kittens and puppies and flowers and butterflies and all of that. Okay? We learn through adversity because humans are stubborn. So we choose the parents and the situations that we are born into to help us to learn and to grow. Now, this is a huge, huge thing. So, and we also, we plan out the whole thing. Now, this is not blaming the victim, okay, because some people do choose to come here in a form where their body is severely compromised. That's part of what they do. And if you've ever worked or dealt with people like that, it's an amazing gift, okay? Because it's like they do contribute a great deal. And they also teach us to be more grateful for what we have, regardless of what our physical limitations are. But we do plan all of this. We do, we come into families that may not be, on the same level as us. We come into families that might be more elevated or less. It's really not a competition. It's not a judgment. But, facts are facts, Sometimes you come in here, sometimes you come in here. And we have to learn and grow about that. It teaches us how to do different things. One of the things that I used to do as a child, my mother was very verbally and emotionally abusive. Sometimes physically, but mostly it was verbal and emotional, which leaves even worse scars. But I would go and sit inside my closet in my room and look at books. I had to hide to get away. And I was the firstborn, and I was the only child for like almost 8 years. So, I had all the brunt of her issues. And then later on, when my sister was born, my sister was the golden child, and that just kind of like made me even worse, in her eyes anyway. I was astral traveling, and I didn't even know that I was doing that. And I was doing a lot of things. That was whenever I was really connecting with angels, and I didn't realize, what was going on. But it helped me to grow in different ways. One, I mean, and some of them were not positive, okay? I totally admit that. I definitely come with, some baggage, like we all do. But I also, throughout my life, was really strange because I kept hearing the words, the light will overcome the dark. Now, that does not mean, now that I'm older, I totally understand stuff. But it doesn't mean that light is totally going to overcome all of the darkness on the planet, because you do have to have both. This is a universe of opposites, okay? Yin and yang, black, white, hot, cold, But in my situation, light was about overcoming the darkness, in that I was going to persevere, I was going to survive, and I was going to thrive over my mom's darkness. And she is an incredibly dark person. And she, there's a lot of, she's kind of a textbook narcissist. But I had to learn to overcome that. It took me a long time, okay? I didn't have any help, any support. Mom was two different people. She was, one person to the rest of the world who all thought that she was cool and wonderful. And then she was this other person at home with me where she was very mean and hateful. Even my dad wasn't completely aware of what things were like. For most of my life, I felt that I was completely crazy, because it's like everybody was like, oh, your mom's so wonderful. And I'm like, no. And I'm not talking about the normal teenage thing. I'm talking about, really, really an extreme. This isn't necessarily that, mom made me go do the laundry one day so I felt I was abused. Definitely not anything like that. But I thought it was just me. And as I got older, as an adult, in the last probably 10, 15, 20 years, I have had people from my past, which, by the way, she totally, told everybody horrible, horrible things about me all the time. So, according to many people who know my mother and do not know me, I fell off the face of the earth. I ran away with some guy. I abandoned my daughter, and I'm a drug addict. You can see that. Here I am. But it's, that's what she was saying and doing, I think, just to get sympathy from other people. But, I had to learn how to get past all that. And it was really strange because people from my past that I would see had told me that she terrified them. Or, older adults, like aunts and people like that were like, I am so sorry I never defended you, and I'm so sorry that I never helped you when you were a kid. And I'm like, oh my God, it was really real. It was like I was finally get confirmation, because she basically isolated all family from me, everybody. So, I spent most of my life without any of that connection. Definitely the last 20 years without any connection from pretty much anyone from my past. And, even as a kid in school, she would not allow me to have friends and companions and associates. So I was not ever allowed to have any friendships growing up. I always had to stay at home, either in the backyard or in my room. Or occasionally I'd get on my bike and just ride for hours. But she really did everything that she could to stop that. So it did hurt. It did cause some issues. It prevented me from having, relationships and friends, even to this day. But, that happens. People do that. And, but, I always had that, that phrase was, that light will overcome the dark. I will tell you that for the last 12 years or so, I basically have no contact with her. I have seen her 2 or 3 times. Every single time that I have seen her, I have, been as nice as I could possibly be. But I also wasn't like going to stay in that circle where she was, because that would just be crazy. Because she would start immediately with, lies, comments, negativity, doing anything that she could to try to embarrass me in front of other people, even though she didn't and has no idea what's going on in my world. So, that's kind of, like part of what I grew up with and some of the things that I dealt with. These people don't always realize and know what they're doing. They're basically dark, lost souls, and, that's the only way that they can do it, is they're trying to steal somebody else's light. She didn't understand me. She didn't understand how I was different, and she didn't like it. My sister is very much like her, and, they are pretty much inseparable, and I wish them the best. I've done a lot of forgiveness on it, and I've done a lot of cord cutting on it so that I don't have to really deal with it much, and, it's okay. A lot of times people who are very sensitive empaths and intuitive have to deal with this problem. So, and it's part of our growing and expanding as well. Because I guess, if we can get past that, then, we can kind of help you get past just about anything in your life. People who are intuitive end up having a lot of issues and problems, a lot of times health-wise. But we are also able to help people because we have actually had those experiences. So we understand. And we understand more about what you're going through and can help you on that level. But, it's what we chose to be, born with. This is supposedly my, last time around, thank God. And hopefully I can get all my lessons done and out of the way so I don't have to do this anymore. And for that, I will be grateful for eternity. So let's see. Oh, gosh. We're like close to 12 o'clock. Okay. Let me, what I will do is I will come back online later and do some card readings for some people who ask for cards. That'll be easier for me to keep track of anyway, because it's kind of hard for me to keep track of that. So if you did ask for a card reading, just know that I will come back and do those later on today and tomorrow. If anybody is interested in their own private reading or session, then, go on my website, healinglightonline.com, and you will, you can go through and sign up for any of the sessions. If anybody wants to donate to help support what I do, that would be awesome as well. Because, this is all self-funding. So, this is how I support myself. This is how I support the things that I do. I am going to be working on recording some online classes, probably within the next couple of weeks. And so you'll be able to find some of those. If any of you have preferences on what you would like to learn in an online class, they're going to be video classes like on demand. So if there's something that you would like to learn on that, also leave me a note on here. And I will definitely keep track of those, and I would love to get your opinion about what you are most interested in and how I can help you. Some of the things that I thought about doing was intuitive development, working with your angels, maybe working with crystals, anything like that. So you guys are interested in it, I would love to put some of those together for you and do them. I am going to do them at, very reasonable pricing. And, so that you guys can work and learn and expand as well. And, just take advantage of some of the things that I've learned. Let's see. Opening your third eye. Christy, that is something that you can do. Your third eye, actually, one point is here, the other point is in the very back of your neck. It's called an area just below your skull. And that's called the mouth of God. And that's where a lot of people hold tension because they do have their third eye blocked. So ask your angels to help you with this. There have been times when I did feel blocked, and I liked, I wanted to open it, I needed to, and it was really cool because I asked my angels to help me with this. And a very good experience. So, you can ask your angels to help you open the third eye. You can also do exercises where you're just like pulling and visualizing that eye opening up. It also goes straight in through to your pineal gland, and this will help you, work on decalcifying that, and that will help you as well. So I need to run. I want to thank everybody so very much for being here with me today. Now, I am not going to do another live feed for about 10 days. So I am I get to finally go travel and see my daughter and her husband and the grandbaby. So I am going to be away on Wednesday. I will be checking my email. I'll be checking, obviously on the Facebook page during that time. If anybody wants readings during that time, I will try to do some of them. But since I only get to see my grandchild, he's about to turn 3, and I only get to see him about 3 to 4 times a year. So I'm going to be devoting as much time as I can to him. But, I will be getting back with you guys. And then the next time that I will do a live session, let me look on my calendar so I can actually have like the correct date on here, because otherwise I'll be like way wrong. Okay, the next one is going to be on Thursday, April the 13th. And big surprise for everybody. Well, probably not, but for me, this Sunday, the 9th, Mercury's going into retrograde. Oh boy, that's going to be fun. Just remember that when Mercury goes into retrograde, that is time for us to kind of review, reflect, and go back over some of the things that we've done over the past several months, and to kind of look at it and see what we need to tweak, see what we need to change, and how we can grow. Mercury retrograde is also about resting and reflecting. So when I come back on that Thursday, the 13th, that's one of the things we're going to talk about then, is how to deal with Mercury retrograde and how to make it a really positive experience. Because it can be. It doesn't always have to be something totally chaotic. So we'll talk about that when I get back. So thank you so much for everybody who was with us. I will try to get card readings for everybody who has been on here live before I leave. I cannot guarantee that I will do it for people who are watching the replay, but I will try to do it for everybody who's been on live. So thank you again for being here. Check back a little bit later, and I will get started on some of those. And I just wish you a wonderful week of love, light, and blessings. And talk to your angels and ask them to help you. Thank you so much. Goodbye.